All right, welcome back to the Optimal Self Podcast. These are what we call Optimal Self Conversations, where we talk to incredible people who, through adversity, grit, and persistence, are forging the path to being the best version of themselves. They join us and give you the tools to do the same. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. Do not miss this one, because my guest today is the great Prince Daniels Jr. Here it is. Some call him half human, half monk. Prince Daniels Jr. is a former NFL running back, high performance mentor who works with high achievers and athletes to unlock their peak performance. He is the author of Mindfulness for the Ultimate Athlete, mastering the balance between power and peace. He's also the creator of Unlocking Your Peak Performance Masterclass. Prince is also the founder of Game Beyond the Game, an ecosystem helping athletes find their purpose and vision in life beyond the game. And I know that I've said athlete many times right now, and I know that some of you want to turn off. Don't do it, because it's far beyond. This is the human conversation. I was honored to be on his podcast and get everything that you can possibly imagine. So I know I said athlete, but please don't take athlete to heart. Listen to this from a human perspective, and man, you're going to get some good stuff. So Prince, thanks, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing amazing, man. This energy is high, so I got to make sure I match the frequency and the gravity of the atmosphere, man.
Hey, hey, it's 100 or nothing over here, man. You know what I mean? If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it as well as we possibly can.
Then let's do
it, man. So let's get started. Look, there are so many pieces to this puzzle, and most people don't know is the monk side of things, right? I mean, here you are, you go on to play professional football in the NFL. And so marry those two things and tell us how did the monk thing come about?
Man, it was by accident. And the reason why I say it is because when I decided to go to a monastery, the reasoning behind it was more ego driven. It was more like, I'm ready to zen out on these fools. I'm ready to be the elite of the elite, because just on my own, I was able to identify certain steps in my growth process. Like just being immersed in that environment. When I wasn't playing, I had a lot of time on my hand. And so my coach would say to me, like, he would just ask me why I'm effing up, why I'm effing this up, why I'm effing that up, right? I got a lot of time. Like, what are you doing with your time? Like, focus. All right. And so one day we were in practice and my coach, he got on me and he said, he chewed me out. And he just like, how the hell you gonna run with the ones if you effing up and you don't know the plays? And so in my head, I was just like, what? I want to run with the ones? Oh my goodness. And so from there, I studied so hard. I became a student of the game. And I started to see my progress. My teammates started to see my progress, and I started to figure out small things. I went from running a 4.5 to a 4.2 in 6 weeks. I knew the whole playbook. Like, everything became more of an optimal self. I wanted to use that word more of an optimal realization of like, wow, okay, I'm here. I can do this. I can get better. I'm getting better. I feel myself getting better. I see myself getting better. Everyone else sees me getting better. Now I have this level of supreme confidence. And so from there, I wanted to go to a monastery to like further my game. How do I become the elite of the elite? That was my mindset. And I went to a monastery and I started to try to figure out, those sayings that Bruce Lee used to say, you got to be more like water. Water is this, and water, it doesn't have a shape. It's formless. And I wanted to be more like those kung fu movies that I used to watch growing up, and just all those movies that had that moment of like, this is like supreme confidence, supreme energy. You can do this. You can perform at your highest peak. And for me, that was the reason. That was my initial reasoning for going to the monastery.
Mm.
And then after my career was over, it came to a halting stop. I went back to the monastery, and it's something that I leaned upon because now I needed to understand what was life about, and that's how those two polarities, they merged.
Wow. Love it. Okay. Man, you hit on so many points, and I don't want to gloss over some of the beauty that's some of the gold that you just gave us. Is that what you chose in the moments where you were effing up, so to speak? You had to, again, what I heard, and again, is talent got me there, but it wasn't going to get me any further. I had to now become better. I had to become, in your words, student of the game, learn those things, which I love. Which leads me to this question, is because it led into this, and you said the word confidence several times. And then you even called it supreme confidence. And in Optimal Self, again, and the people that hear us and our optimal selfers, they know that they hear it from me. Confidence is only earned. There is no such, you cannot have a false, true confidence. So with you choosing to, saying, okay, I know how to get my body better. I know I can lift weights, right? I got my technique better, so I got a little faster. Okay, I know the playbook, so I'm never missing the hole. I'm never missing I'm never in the wrong spot. But you said, hold on, I need to get to that next level, which is the mind, which is I need to get there. So talk to us a little bit about building that supreme confidence, and how did you earn the right to have that at the highest level?
I love that. So it started off with having a goal. Well, I'd say it started off with a level of awareness. All right. The level of awareness came from realizing that I'm in the NFL, and I am on offense. And so with every practice, I get an opportunity to go against the number one defense. Every single day I get a chance to go against the number one defense.
Right.
So if I go against the number one defense every day, and I can make them look shitty, excuse my language.
No, bring it.
Right. Then I can dominate on a high level. So when I go against the number 2, number 3, number 4, and the 32nd team, I'm going to dominate. Right. So that was the mindset. And so adopting that mindset, I started realizing, the small things that separate the good players from the great players, the great players from the elite players to the ultimate elite players, right? Or should you say Hall of Famers? But what I started realizing is these small things that we tend to overlook because our level of awareness is very small. And the more I became more aware of everything, it seemed like I was in the matrix, right? And the reason why I say that is because my coach here called me out, and he was just like, like, PJ, you're smarter than that. Like, use your Georgia Tech degree. Like, you went to Georgia Tech. Like, use it. You don't understand how smart you are. And the minute I started applying myself and I started becoming a student, then I started to see, like, wow, hold on. This is like school. Like, we're in school. Like, the head coach is the professor. Our position coach is our TA. So they help us with certain things. And then we take tests every day by going out to practice, or we take quizzes every day by going out to practice, right? And then, but the game is the test, is where every single skill that you've refined, now you go and display it on the field. And you mitigate, your mistakes. You make sure that you're mindful of what you're doing, everything that you went over in practice, all the mistakes that you made. You make sure you don't make those same mistakes twice. And for me, that's when I started really understanding, like, this is where this confidence is coming from. The confidence came from the ability to work, the ability to realize, like, wow, I'm getting better. Wow, last week, Ray Lewis has stopped me in the hole. The next week, I studied Ray Lewis, studied other linebackers, studied everything I need to know. Studied Walter Payton, studied Barry Sanders, studied myself. Next week, come back. We have an opportunity I had an opportunity, but the offense, we ran another play in the same way, similar manner, and I was able to win. I won this battle now. It wasn't Ray, it was me that won. And so I started realizing, like, wow, I'm developing. And so through that developmental stage, the confidence starts to build from within me. It wasn't something that's outside of me. It's because I had some nice cleats, or my gear was nice. That's pseudo confidence. When I'm talking about supreme confidence, I was fearless. There was nothing that anyone could say to me to make me feel like I'm just a player. At some point in time, my level of confidence rose so high, my mind was saying, "Oh, I'm playing against humans." Oh, and that was because my emotions were not there. My emotions were detached from the situation, and I wasn't trying to emote any type of emotion. I was just going with the flow. I'm just like, oh, I'm going to stiff arm this person. I'm going to run right past this person. I'm going to run over this person. I'm going to go score a touchdown right here, right now. Watch, and I did it. So what I spoke into existence, the actions follow. And it wasn't, I wasn't utilizing my emotion to like I'm going to cry and I'm going to make this happen. It was just more like, it's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, we'll get up, we'll do it again. And it was just like so even keel, like a samurai. A samurai just pulls his sword out. The job well done, moving forward. And that's how I felt. And that's where the supreme confidence came from.
Yeah. I mean, wow. And again, it's earned, right? You earned the right internally to have that supreme confidence. You didn't just tell yourself, oh, I'm going to do this. You actually studied ahead of time because you had to lose first. Ray had to fill that hole, and you had to lose first. You had to get beat first to say, okay, I don't want to do that again, right? It doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good. Coaches ain't gonna be like, I had to keep learning and keep watching and keep studying. So, and I love it. And I don't want people to gloss over that, is that even in life, right? Like, let's turn this into some real life for a second. And we look at it that way, but today you do the same thing. It's not Ray coming over your house to forearm shiver you, but there's an old thing called life. Every day you wake up ready to forearm shiver you. That's even worse, right? People every day are having that. And something you said, and I want to kind of tie these two things together, because I think it was a beautiful sentiment, the way that you described how the practice, how we all go to school. Everybody who's hearing this at one time or another went to school. Like, you had to, right? Either if you're homeschooled, you still had to get some form of, formal education where you sat down. Now, we understand the terms quizzes. We understand the terms tests. We understand the terms grade, right? But when we look at it as a life, okay? So I love how you said this. You said every day at practice, I was taking a quiz every day. And I had to get better at the quiz so that game day, the test. Okay, in school, same thing, right? You do quizzes, and then ultimately the day that the test is coming. Exactly. In football, what day game day is.
Right.
But here's where I think all this ties, and I want people to get this, and I want you to elaborate. We don't know when game day is in life. You don't get a notification that says, it's game day, yo. This person is going to ask you this question. Hope you're ready for it. Or this opportunity is going to arise at your job or in your life. Hope you're ready for it. You don't get it. But that's why daily preparation, mindfulness that you talk about, we don't do it to prepare for the game because we don't know what day game day is in life. Stop looking for game day and start falling in love with the work every single day, the practice, the quizzes, the learning, the looking for the next thing, right? So can you elaborate a little bit on that? Because I love what you said, and it means so much to the people out here today, is that, I know when Super Bowl Sunday is, and guess what? be as ready as I can be. Well, guess what? People get their Super Bowl in life and they miss it because they're not ready. They're not doing it. They're not doing that thing you did, right? They're not getting their mind ready.
Right.
So how do we help people do something like that?
So, what I specialize in is I help you stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and what I mean by that is that everybody's going to have a moment of peak performance. And when your moment of peak performance arises, your mind, your body, your spirit, your energy, and your emotions need to be ready for that moment. Right. Because if you're not prepared for it, you're going to skittishly talk yourself out of it or lose that opportunity because you're so afraid that you didn't prepare, right? You're not prepared enough. And if you prepare too much, then you're just doing too much. You're anxious, you're nervous. And so that anxiety will not allow for you to show up when your moment of peak performance arises. So that's the reason why we do that work. Now, the reason why people don't do it is because they really don't have a desire or will to really move forward in life and try to figure out what's their why, or like, why am I here? How do I do this? Right. So and these are those questions that people have to ask themselves, like, why am I here? Like, what am I doing to help others, to serve others? Showing up. How do I show up? How do I serve others? Because that is what inspires you, to be able to see a smile on somebody's face, to be able to see someone that was paralyzed and the doctor told them that they couldn't walk, and yet they every single day they got their ass up and they started making that attempt to walk. And then one day it went from I'm not able to do it to they getting up out of their seat and they're walking again when somebody told them that they couldn't do it. That they could never walk again. And so if people can adopt that mindset of understanding, like it's not about like you said, the game day, or one day I'll be able to walk. No, walk every day, even if somebody doesn't even say anything to you. But if somebody said something to you like that you could not walk, still get your ass up and walk, because while you're here, you can make an impact and a difference in your life and in other people's life. But when you're gone, you're gone. And look, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. I love Kobe Bryant, man. Kobe Bryant did so much for us while he was here, right? But now that he's here, there's nothing else that he could do. Yeah. And that's hurtful, right? But it's also a reminder for everyone to realize that while you're here, make an impact, make a difference. Do those necessary things. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And like, well, what are you getting ready for? You're getting ready to live life and to show other people how to show up and live life correctly as well. Be inspired, because while we're here, we can make a difference. But when you're not here anymore, you cannot make a difference. You got to let that sink in. So when you go to sleep with the dream. And when you wake up in the morning, you should have a purpose that you're going to make a difference in this world. You're going to make an impact in this world. You're going to enrich someone's life. You're going to enhance someone's life. And if it's not someone, at least let it be yours, because you have to remember that you are a person first and foremost. You cannot give love to somebody else if you don't have love for yourself, right? You can't give money to somebody if you don't have any money for yourself. Right. So it's these concepts. Once you start realizing and understanding these little simple concepts, then you start waking up with a purpose. You start waking up understanding, like, I just have to stay ready, because I know my moment of peak performance is going to arise. And when it arises, I'm going to show up. And when you show up, you got to show out. Don't play, ball out.
Okay, I mean, if y'all are listening to this, just rewind the last 3 minutes and play it again. Like, I'm not even, I can't even with it. I don't even want to go nowhere. Preparation is the key to peak performance. And then you said, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And man, because again, right, we don't know when game day is for us. We don't know when our Super Bowl is coming. We don't know. But if I look at it and I say, okay, I love your question, man. Why am I here? Why am I here? Right. And I say this all the time. People hear me say it. My mission is to help and inspire people to change behavior through belief and action so they can be the best version of themselves. Not my version, not your mom's version, not your dad, nobody's version, but your version. But you first have to come up with your version.
Right.
Right.
And the way that you come up with your version is by, as I mentioned, asking yourself that question. But you have to learn how to ask yourself that question with your eyes closed without falling asleep. Right? Because think about it. Whenever you are trying to ask yourself a question, you will get distracted by every other thing that's around you. All of your your sensors, your nerves, they are they're activated by something that's going on outside of you. A TV comes on, you hear a dog barking, you hear a fire truck, you hear the sirens, you hear someone asking you this, hey dad, can you do this? Hey mom, can you do this? All of these things that happen throughout your life, it takes you away from understanding who you are. And so whenever you want to become intentional, whenever you want to go in a direction, you need to sit down and be able to close your eyes for a little bit and have that moment for you and that space for you, right? And then become mindful of the question that you're asking yourself, like, why? Okay, like, what's next? Like, what am I doing? And when you continue to keep practicing that every single day, what happens is you create this space for yourself. You start to enjoy yourself, you start to love yourself, you start to see yourself and how everyone else sees you. And when that happens, then you start living into what your purpose is, because sometimes you're not able to articulate what your purpose is. You just kind of just merge into it, and then you start feeling yourself like, I feel purposeful. I feel like I'm making a difference in someone's life. I feel like I'm making a difference in my life, and I feel like I'm making an impact while I'm here. And when you continue to keep practicing and making mindful a part of your daily life, you start to see like, oh, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do. That's why, and so you have to connect not only to your mind, but you also have to connect to the next thing, your spirit, what's inside of you. Because once you figure out what's inside of you, then that starts to brighten and to glow and to blossom. And you just do what you're supposed to do while you're here.
But all those connection points, I love it. You got to be able to do it with your eyes closed without falling asleep and knowing who you are and why I'm here. And you said something in both of those statements that I think is very vital. And I want to touch back on for a second. You said, you can't give what you don't have. And I love the idea of that, because listen, well, if I say to you, you can't give money you don't have, people go, yeah, I get that. You can't give somebody a ride if you ain't got a car, right? You can't give somebody food if you don't have food. Like those are very tangible things that we understand.
Right.
But you said it. We can't give love if we don't have love for ourselves. And so taking your eyes closed and doing that moment that you're speaking of to get all those different connection points, right? That's where it comes from. And I say this all the time. We talk about it, right? The best version of you. The reason is not an arrogance. The reason why you should become the best version of you, so that you can inspire others to do the same. I can't give you the best me if I don't work on the best me, right? Yeah. So can you go a little bit, because it's so beautiful and you articulate it so well. You can't give what you don't have.
Yeah.
And man.
Yeah. No, go ahead and finish. My apologies. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I want to hear, because you said it, and you said it in a way that I want the listener to really grasp it for a second. Is we can easily say, give me money, and you're like, I don't have it. Right. But but you're talking about love, and you're talking about the best version of you. You're talking about, like you said, the mindfulness, like, wait, I can't give that either if I'm not working on it. I can't give that if I don't know what it is. So you can't give what you don't have.
Right. So I'm going to tell you a story about me in just a little bit, but to expound on what you were saying, breakups, divorce, they happen because of the lack of love for oneself, right? So, our society forces us to like it puts pressure on us. Get married, get married, have kids, do this, do that, right? There's no right moment, there's no right time. And it's like, no, it's not. But you start to realize when you see a number of people going through bad relationships, getting a divorce, that plays a role on your psyche, right? And you're like, I'm not going to be that person, but yet you still fall into that same category. And it's because you're trying to when you elope with someone, you're merging with them. Your world and their world is coming together. And so their baggage in the past, your baggage in the past, it comes together, right? And so when it comes together, you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa! I didn't know that you had that, that right there. Like, wait, how, you're holding all of this in? Like, wow, you brought so much baggage. I don't even know who you are. But when they say I don't even know who you are, they're actually saying I don't even know who I am, because it's just like, how much baggage do I have? Like, shit, I got a lot of baggage too. And then if somebody points out your baggage, it's like it's threatening. Like, what? That's not me. That's not who I am. When in reality, you have to face who you are, because once you face who you are and you get over all of the doubt, the opinions of others, or the opinions that you created out of your own figment of your imagination, then you start realizing, like, dang, I actually do love you. Like, I actually do. I love myself, right? And when you love yourself, you show up. And when you're in a relationship, you love yourself, and you're like, man, I love myself. So now that I have this person, loving them is just icing on the cake, right? And that's what I mean about loving yourself first, because then it's easier for you to love someone else. And now your relationship is not toxic. You understand yourself. And when you understand yourself, then you're easily able to understand the other spouse and what their needs and their wants are, and you can fulfill that. And that's what makes a relationship successful and very easy. Now, my story, for me, I grew up, I had a huge supporting cast as a family, and they poured love into me. And so I got that love at a young age. And so now when I go out into this world, this cruel world, which we all like to call it, um, anything that comes to me, any negativity that comes my way, I still have a foundation of love. So going into college, I was a walk on going into college. I went to Georgia Tech, and um, I had dreams and hopes that I was going to be a big football star. And in high school, I was a big football star, but I didn't do well on the standardized test. So I didn't get a scholarship on the scholarship day. So anyway, I had to walk on to Georgia Tech. I got accepted there, and my mindset was just, I'm going to be the starting running back at Georgia Tech, and I'm going to make all academic as well. So that actually happened. But along that path, my coach had told me that I sucked and that I wouldn't amount to anything. And now, if my foundation wasn't filled with love and happiness and support, then the day when my coach told me that I sucked and I wouldn't amount to anything and I need to get the F out of his office, that would have been the day where I would have crumbled. Right. But when he said, you're not this, you're not that, you're not enough, you're not what we're looking for, I said to myself, no, no, no. That's not my dream. That's his dream. That's what he thinks about me. I don't think about that. I don't think of myself like that. And I had all this love inside of me. And so all that love inside of me took everything that he said to me and channeled it and turned it into fuel to allow for me to, become the individual that I wanted to become. And that was because of the love that was poured into me. So what I'm saying to the individuals that's listening, when you can start learning how to turn that same type of love into you, and like, I stop right there real quick. Imagine that you love someone very much. Who is it that you love? You need to ask yourself that question right now. Like, who do you love? Like you love them more than anything. I'll do anything for them. Now, once you've answered that question, what you have to do now is start trying to figure out how that same love that you have for that individual, you use that same love and you turn it around and you use it for yourself. That's the reason why you close your eyes. Because when you start closing your eyes, you start realizing, like, man, I really love me, to the point where it's like, I'm so proud of me. I'm so proud of what I do. Look at this. I am full of confidence. I am, and that's how it happens. That is the magic in it happening, And so as I go back to my story where I paused, where I left off, when you have the love inside of you, it is easier for you to love somebody else, because you once you love yourself, it's just like the next step is to, okay, I can love you. Once you have money for yourself and you feel secure financially, then you're like, okay, I can help you. Or who else can I help? How can I be instrumental in their life? How can I help them, grow, so forth. And that's what this life is about. And that's how you continue to keep enriching others' lives and enriching your life as well.
Man, that's so good. Look, so the love for yourself, right? Like, because you and I talk about it offline, we've talked about it, and I've had that conversation with you. We've both been told we weren't good enough. We've both been told we weren't going to make it, right? And we always say, like, well, I just didn't believe it, right? I was just not of that belief. And I love what you said, because I mean, I too, my nana and mom and, the family, poured in and showed tons of love. But one of the other things that I think, that I want people to get out of this conversation, especially what you just said, is that, because we can always equate it to a bank, right? If you save money and you put it in the bank, and then you get that ATM card out and you need it, right? You're in that moment and you're like, oh man, I need it. And you go over and you put that card in. If you've made deposits, then something's going to come out, right?
Right.
Okay. So let's be clear though, because the love you're talking about is that I have to still put those deposits in for myself. Yeah. So again, we do this with other people all the time. And you made reference to it, especially in relationships. We do for them, right? Okay, we helped them do this, or we took out the trash, or we did this, or right, we're making these deposits in, right, into this bank. And right. If the other person doesn't, that's when that's when there's no reciprocation, right? That's when we start to feel that disconnect.
Correct.
Okay. But here's the thing. We do things for others all the time.
Yes.
But so much we do not make deposits into that personal bank. So that when that person comes along and says, yo, PJ, you ain't going to make it. Like you ain't going to amount to shit. Right.
Right.
That you can take that personal ATM card and put it in and be like, wait, shit's coming out. Why? Because I've been putting into work, because you know what I'm saying? Like I've been doing things. I've been making deposits. So people need to understand, look, loving yourself is we talk about it. You hear about it, man, almost where it's like, okay, I get it. But let's break it down for a second. Like loving yourself is simple as, if you say you're going to get up at 6 a.m. and go to the gym, do it. Right. That's just a deposit in the love for yourself.
That's it.
Regardless of what you get out of it, regardless of the workout, or regardless of how you feel and aesthetically, or anything changes, weight gets better, six pack, whatever, that doesn't even matter. What you do by doing it every day is you're making that deposit into that bank of loving yourself.
That's it.
What you choose to eat, how you choose to respond, the words that you use, those are little deposits that we make. Don't look for the big thing. Right? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about making those little deposits, like you going, hey, I want to get smarter. I want to get better. I want to get this. Let me go learn how to make my mind stronger. No one else is doing that. No one told you to do it. No one did, but you started depositing little bits of love into that personal account. So when life hit it,
the little things equate to the big things, man. Think of a puzzle, think of a puzzle. You have all these small pieces. But once you put all these small pieces together, you get the big puzzle piece, right? Right. And I love what you're saying about those small deposits. See, the thing is, when people are like, I do so much for everybody else. So they're constantly making small deposits for everybody else, right? And then all of a sudden, say that person is just like, you know what, I'm okay, I'm done with this relationship. You're like, what the fuck? I did everything for you, but you never put any deposit aside for you. Right. And so now you lose your wits. Mm-hmm. You have to understand that people grow, right? Sometimes people grow together, sometimes they grow apart.
Right.
And in that process, you have to be okay with growing together, or you have to be okay with growing apart. And so as long as you're making reminding yourself to make small deposits for you, like you don't lose your wits whenever someone says, I want to go a separate way. It's just like, okay, all right. You talk about it, you can reason with it, and then you understand and just like, well, I still have love for you, but I get it. But I have enough love for myself to be able to amicably walk away, right? And it's so simple, but you have to remember you first, then they're next. Don't put someone else before you, because then, like, if we're human beings, right? And so it's like some type of calling, like, I want to go over here. And it's like, why don't you stay on the path? Well, I don't know. I saw a beautiful butterfly and it just brought me over here, and I just wanted to smell the roses, and and we become so enamored to structure and form, and you have to do things this way, and some people like to do things in a more of a formal manner, and then some people like to do it in more of a formless manner. Right. So you just have to find the balance. And again, you first, then the person second, because then that way it doesn't lead to you becoming angry because you did something for someone. You do something for someone out of kindness of your heart. But you got to make sure that your heart is filled before you try to give something, out the kindness of your heart, because then you'll be in this retaliation mindset of like, I did this for you, and you're looking for something in return, and you didn't do nothing for me in return. You know what? You not this, you're not that. No, you're not growing. We're here to we are supposed to be here to grow. There are lessons in life, not mistakes, but lessons, and we grow from those lessons, and we learn from those lessons, and we continue to grow. We're on an infinite journey, man, and love is like an infinite thing. Like, it keeps pouring in. Like, just because somebody call you arrogant, that's their limitation. That's their opinion. Who gives a shit about their opinion? Oh, he's arrogant. He's too cocky. No, because when you continue to keep loving yourself, you go beyond the word arrogant. You go beyond the word cocky. You go beyond the word confidence, and you become that. And most people are not able to match that energy. And so, since they're not able to match the energy, you just continue to keep moving forward. They're not for you to help you, grow more in life and move forward in life. And so, like, I want your listeners to hear that. Like, understand that like, love is infinite, and it continues to keep growing and growing and growing.
And as do we, right? As individuals, we have to keep growing, man. That's I want to shift gears, but I want to add literally what you said, because we have a lady in our Optimal Self program, and one morning, we had a little group session, and she was sharing, and we just said, it was real quick, and said, hey, what's your goal today? And she said, it's been rough. I've been struggling. I've been, she had some things going on in her life. And she said, today, my single day goal, just my goal today is I am going to make somebody else smile. And the whole call just went like quiet. And I know that everybody I felt that in my heart. Like, I felt it in my soul. Like, imagine, like, we get so caught up in work and making more money and driving a nicer car, or, whatever that thing that engulfs us. But imagine how great your day is if you're like, my sole purpose of today is to make someone else smile. And that's it. because it could be so simple. Like we get too caught up in so many things. So I wanted to leave that because there's, and I wanted to add that into it just made reference to everything that you were saying right now about loving yourself and all those things is like, because even when you do that and you give a smile to somebody else and they smile back, like you can't help but smile.
Right.
Like no matter what's going on, like you can't help it. Right.
Yes.
And so, to knowing what nobody else is in this world in that moment is that, man, just if that was your sole purpose for the day one day, think how wonderful the end of your day was. Like, man, I got 32 on my list today. Made 32 different people smile. Like, cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's just such a reward. And we get too caught up in the other things. So I just wanted to give somebody something simple. But I want to shift gears a little bit because this is something I talk about a lot. And I know that you've been through it being an athlete. And we use the term mentor. So, who were the role models? First of all, how do you feel about role models and mentors, and do we need them? And, and if so, who were yours and how can somebody go about, finding them and touching that?
Awesome. So a role model, I'm not going to say we don't need a role model, but a role model is somebody that is playing a role and trying to model something that they've seen. I think a mentor, a coach, and a teacher are the three things that you need to have.
Yeah.
All right. And the way that you go about doing that, finding a mentor comes from conversations. All right. You connect with someone that you probably don't even know them, or you were introduced to them, through a group setting or in a group setting, and you decide to speak to someone, and they are having the same conversation as you, and they are probably where you want to be or where you're heading, and that's how you find your mentor when you have a conversation with them, and you have this conversation where it's just like, wow. Like you've done all these amazing things and you've accomplished this. Like, I would like to do that. And the mentor will just present itself. Look, when the mentor is ready, the mentee is ready, right? When the teacher is ready, the student is ready. When the student is ready, the teacher is ready, right? Yes. So that's how you find that coaching or a coach. A coach. There's so many coaches out there in the world, and you find one that's right for you. Find a coach that's right for you, and a teacher. Find a teacher that's someone that's going to teach you something new. That's going to continue to keep stimulating, your mind and your mindset and how you should think about doing things in life. And once you can have those three things, a coach, a mentor, and a teacher, you will have a prosperous life. And just open yourself up to find a mentor. Like, you have to be open to receive that. In the same way, if you were thirsty, you would receive water in the most humble and most humble and like meekish way. Like, please, I received this water. I'm going to drink it right now, right? So you got to open yourself up to receive a mentor if you need to get mentored on things in life. Open yourself up. And open now that everything has opened back up, now you can start meeting people in person in group settings, and you can meet them, talk to them, and you will feel it. You will feel like, man, I feel like I want this person to be my mentor, and that's how you make your decision. It starts from your inside of you, your intuition, being around the right settings, because the universe kind of creates for you to be in the setting. Like, there'll be a time where you'll be at home and your spouse will be like, hey, let's go out. And you're like, I don't want to go out. Like, you know what? I'll go out anyway. And when you go out, you actually have a good time. And having a good time, you have great conversation. And have great conversation, you meet your mentor. Mm-hmm. And that's how it happens. It's something that you ask for, but you're not aware, that it can happen at any moment in time. And that's the simple way to find a mentor.
I love it. I love it. I love what you said, though. I hope people heard this, is that in order for that person to arrive in your life, you have to be open to receiving it, right? When the student is ready, This is the truth. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yep.
And a lot of times when it's not happening for us, we get upset, or we think it's happening to us, right? That's a lot of times. But so if you're in that moment now and you're hearing this, like, and you're like, man, I need that person. And we'll literally get out, write it out. What are you looking for? What is it that you want to happen?
Yes.
And be open to receiving it.
Yes.
And be open to the fact that it may not be who you think it is, or it may not be what you think it is, right?
Correct.
You have to be open. And you also made reference to environment. And I'm a firm believer. I mean, environment matters. You have to surround yourself with people who are on that same frequency, who are pushing that thing, and who are leveling you up, right?
Yes.
Who are not going to be afraid of your success, who are not
Right.
going to be afraid of your growth.
Yes.
Right. That's where we see it, is when they start to try to drag it. They're like, whoa, you shouldn't be growing that fast.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
They want to, and they want to shoot you down. Right. And that
Yeah,
happens. And we just have to stay, because you just need that new environment. And again, I'll say it, you have to be open to receiving where that next teacher, mentor comes from. So that's
Right.
yeah, wonderful. So good. I mean, we both have had coaches in our lives that were absolutely incredible and absolutely who should not be in that profession. Like it happens, right? Yeah. But again, we're not going to but neither one of them dictate our lives. Exactly. Neither one of them they are the same. I hope people understand that, is because again, somebody tells you you're not good enough, or somebody tells you you're great. It's still just their opinion.
Yes. Yep.
So you still have to do the work. You still have to keep going.
Yes.
Like, it's not both ways, right? It's not like, oh, this guy told me I was no good. Okay, well, the person who told you you're great, both of those are just opinions. You need to prove it. You need to earn it, right? The supreme confidence, like we talked about in the beginning. So I love it, man. I love it. So we're at one of my favorite parts of the show. I call them quick hitters.
All right.
I'm just going to give you a term. You tell me how it hits you, and how it affects you, and where it is in your life. And so the first one of the quick hitter is discipline. What is that? How does that hit you, and where is that in your life?
Discipline is very high in my life. Where does it hit me? It hits me, I would say, in being committed to myself. Right. Discipline sounds like a really difficult act. Right. It sounds like it's a strong word. It can be intimidating to a lot of people. But, when you have discipline, discipline creates like an effortless life, because you do the work. It's like building a sailboat. Discipline is like building a sailboat. Continue to keep doing it, continue to keep doing it, continue to keep doing it, until one day you put your sailboat on the water. And now the effortless part comes whenever you open up the sail and the ship sails.
Oh, that was beautiful, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. That's incredible. So I'm gonna go back. I just want to make sure people heard that. Discipline creates an effortless life. Like,
yes.
So good. So good. All right. Second one, last quick hitter. How does it hit you, and what is it that you want to leave? And the word is impact.
So impact. The way that it hits me is through my ability to inspire. All right. So how do I want to make an impact? My goal is to teach everyone about mindfulness in this world, and actually everyone in the world can practice it for 1 second together, right? And if we can do that, we can create like a mind, a consciousness shift in the world, to make this world a better place. Because nobody wants to. We all understand that we have an expiration date, but no one wants to be forced to expire. You want to go through that natural process. And so since that's a reason, for everyone to come together and collectively say, all right, we want to be able to make an impact together on this world. So in order for us to do that, let us connect consciously and be like, okay, this is what we're working towards as a species, as a race, to make this happen. And once we do that, then the next generation will come behind us and look to do like the next few seconds, 2, 3, 4, 5. But like we are everybody, we are all human beings, right? And so if we can come together and make an impact by using our minds, then this world will be more mindful. And so that's where the word impact hits me, in my heart and my spirit, to help inspire others to make an impact.
And you are. So talk to us about Mindfulness for the Ultimate Athlete, the book, and then you can elaborate too on where can people get in touch with you and learn more about you, and because I know there's gonna be people out there that are like, yo, I need more Prince I need more PJ in my life. I know when I met you, I did. So tell us more about the book, and anything else that you want to elaborate on.
Yes, most definitely. And one, I just want to say thank you for this optimal opportunity just to be here. Yeah, so my book, Mindfulness for the Ultimate Athlete, Mastering the Balance Between Power and Peace. It's a book that I wrote, took me 6 years to write it. And it was me being able to merge my two worlds, and, being a professional athlete to living at a monastery. And what I want the reader to get out of it is that you understand, your body, and your mind, and that's just one component of the spectrum of the equation. And then you have your spirit and the zone, which is I equate it to peace. So once you learn how to master the balance between your power and your peace, you start understanding, more about life, why we're here, what we're doing, what direction you need to go into. Like, it's not going straight, but it's learning how to go up as well. Because when you go up, your perspective changes, everything changes, and inside of you. And so I wrote this book, not just for athletes, because what I want all the listeners to understand, we are all athletes in this game of life. We all have to jump over hurdles. We all have to jump through hoops. We all have to run fast. We're all, in competition of doing something, but you have to learn that you don't have to be in competition with anybody. You just be in competition with yourself, and to be the best version of yourself, to get better each and every day. Don't allow for other people's opinion to stop you from growing. All right. Like, it still happens to me sometimes, even though, I practice this every day, but sometimes I do get sidetracked. But at the same time, since I create that space for myself, since I create that, this love for myself, right? It allows for me to grow. So Mindfulness for the Ultimate Athlete is helping you become the most optimal person for yourself, and being the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. It helps athletes understand their body, their mind, their spirit, and the zone. And when you're in the zone, you're living life in an effortless manner. You're living life, you're flowing through life. And so that's what my book was about. And I have a 6-week course, based upon my book, called Unlock Your Peak Performance. So it's a 6-week masterclass. I help you unlock your peak performance. We pretty much use the book as the key, and we elaborate on everything that you're going through in life, help you gain a different perspective, and make sure that you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So you unlock your peak performance. The minute you unlock your peak performance, then you start realizing, like, hey, I can do so much more stuff in this world, right? I can actually do this. I didn't know I can do this. And it's because our limiting beliefs, our words, what we were taught, but as you grow, you, like, not only do you grow physically, right? Like, we're able to see that change, but sometimes our mind doesn't grow. Sometimes our spirit doesn't grow because we don't know what else to look forward to, right? The pinnacle is not to acquire all of these material things, and create generational wealth. Like, that's a part of life, but that's not the ultimate part of life. Like, there's more to life. So impacting people, helping them, helping yourself, showing up and being an inspiration. So other people can show up and be an inspiration, and so we can create this ripple effect throughout the world. So we can make this world a better place and leave it better than, how it was given to us.
Mm.
So, and the last thing, you can go and find me on my website at princedanielsjr.com. Just go check out my website. I have all of my information there. Sign up for my 6-week masterclass. I have some workshops. My book is on Amazon.com, but you can also go to my website. You can find me all on my social media handle on my website as well. But yes, so this is what I'm doing. When you're around me, you're gonna get invigorated, you're gonna get inspired, to get up and go and do what you need to do. Sometimes you don't even know what you need to do, you just feel inspired. But maybe you can feel inspired by just going outside and just smelling the flowers and just watching nature, watching how the bees get busy, in their work that they do. And you become inspired by just observing that small thing. And then you start realizing, wow, I didn't know bees were this busy. I need to get busy too. There's work to do. There's always work to do, man. But you have to find, what work is going to help impact others. What work is going to help inspire someone? What work is going to help someone that's have a negative mindset, because they didn't get the love and the support that they needed when they were younger. But when they become older, they start realizing wow, I didn't know I could make a difference. But that's because of you. You've exposed someone. You showed them you have the potential. Now go and use it and make an impact on this world. And when you do that, guess what they do? They turn around and they say, this was the person that helped me to get to this point. And at that moment in time, now you're being praised, and now you're being uplifted, and you're allowed. And your light is shining. So we have a light inside of us. There's what was that? The old spiritual song, this little light of mine. Well, it's not this little light of mine. It's this big light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let that shine. Let it shine. Right. Let it shine, man. Because then once you let your light shine, when other people get around you, they don't feel so reserved. They well, I'm gonna let my light shine too. And let it shine. Right. So we can all shine. We can all shine, and that's what it's about.
That's right. Because your flame, lighting someone else's flame, does not dim your flame, yo. It brings it. That's why you and I are here right now, right?
That's why we're here right now.
We both have podcasts. We both have all this, man. And I'm hey, because again, we've got to stand next to each other and help each other shine, man. And everything. I hope people go get the book. I love the line you said, we are all athletes in this game of life. Again, it's mindful for the ultimate athlete, but you listening to this right now, don't be oh, I'm not an athlete. Yeah, you are. You're an athlete in this game of life.
Yes.
And we got to do it. Man, I could do this over and over and over, man. Every time I get to share this time with you, man, I got 2 pages of notes. I hope y'all are listening. I got 2 pages of notes of just some incredible stuff. So Prince, man, thank you so much. Again, they say half monk, half man, but full amazing, man. You are the real deal. And I love it. People go, everything, all the links will be in the show notes. Don't worry. You can find them. And keep living to your optimal self, man. I know that because look, you being the best version of you is allowing others to be the best version of them, man. You're super inspiring, man. So I'm super grateful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this time with us.
Thank you, man. I just want to say this one last thing to the listeners. So I met Jeremy probably what's that, 3-4 weeks ago.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, 3-4 weeks ago, and we jumped on a call beforehand, and I remember talking to you. I was just okay, cool, this is Jeremy, right? And so when you did my podcast and you were talking, the energy that I felt, the story that I heard, I heard me, and it resonated with me. It touched my heart. And it was so moving. it just made me want to like give you a hug and be like, let's go, bro. You know, like I love what you are doing. You inspire me. You know, even though I inspire a lot of people, they call me Mr. Inspirational, but you can always receive inspiration from any and everybody, man. And so I appreciate you, your listeners. To your listeners, I want to say this is a gift. Jeremy is a gift. Like, enjoy being in his presence. Like, listen to what I just said. He's a gift. Enjoy being in the present moment of his presence. That is what a gift is. The present and the gift. You know, it's the same thing. But once you understand that, once your mind becomes aware of that, you start realizing the gift that he's given to you. And he's teaching you how to become the best version of yourself, how to live, you know, from your optimal self, you know, the art of becoming the best version of you. Nothing is impossible unless you believe it is.
That's right.
Period. Thank you so much, brother.
Oh, man, no, those kind words hit my heart, man. You gave me the chills, man. For real. Like, thank you so much. So to the listener, look, rewind, play it again, take notes, and more than anything, implement it. And so thanks for Optimal Self. Thank you for the conversation, Prince. And ladies and gentlemen, until next time, get out there and be the best version.